Greetings, my name is Buggsy Malone. I am a San Jose-based artist and photographer, as well as a combat veteran from Desert Shield, Desert Storm. A lot of what I'm doing is based on my experiences, my personal experiences from war and what I experienced and how difficult, if you will, it's been for me to personally find a space that I can get behind, open up to, and begin some true healing that will not only assist myself, but my home. My home is what I call my ground zero. A lot of the people, if you've seen me in public, you've probably seen me in a good state of mind and everything else because I'm doing my passion. I'm doing exactly what I want to do. So you catch me on the good times. But when I'm at home and I have my days are off, needing the support to help guide me along the ways of how I think, how I process information, not automatically go to anger, which is very easy because of what I experienced. I've always said I'm trying to gain seconds, because in a matter of a second, if somebody were to say something to me and I didn't have that second, I can explode a little bit. My anger goes straight from 0 to 100. But if I'm in a space, or if I've been doing what I need to do to heal, that second that I've gained is more than enough time for me to go, I see what's going on here, and I know how to handle it. I'm trying to find more of that in this community. And I say in this community because I discharged out of the Marine Corps in 2000. So it's been a long 25-year journey. I don't think that the time frame takes away from my story. I think it actually is easily understandable for somebody who deals with PTSD, who deals with traumatic brain injuries, and personally experiencing wartime situations of seeing death or whatever else. You put on top of that the health problems that I've also am dealing with because of what I was exposed to in the desert. Having my heart attack and everything else is now gotten me to a true point of going, Buggsy, you're 58 years old this year. What are you going to do with your life? How are you going to make this difference that you always talk about being a photographer of community and culture? How are you going to do all of these things that you wanted to do and it makes sense? Because obviously I don't have a lot of energy to continue to give away if it's not being productive where I need it and where I also feel the community could also use it at. So with that said, I've been through many mental health places. I've been to many other places that they're too clinical. They don't allow me to open up as a real person. I just simply don't connect with them. So I've built a roadmap for myself that I feel the community can easily get behind and understand. And I know other people who have dealt with traumatic events can also heal from. So one of my first things that I want to do is create a space called Rally Point Arts. Rally Point Arts in the community would be a space that concentrates on art, the healing abilities of it, and sharing how important having a voice, whether it's painting, photography, singing, whatever, having a voice to express yourself is. Rally Point's Arts would be that space. It would be a space that we could hold classes, that we could have other artists come in and share their stories of what they've experienced and how they've healed from it. It could also be a gallery for when we do certain events, we're able to collectively share what we've created together as a community. And I think it's a vital piece that veterans need. And I don't want to be pro-veteran as far as veterans only, because those have been the places that I've been to and have not received help from. Because yes, I can get help, but my family, my friends, my close people who are around me, I want them to also be able to understand how to help me, or people like me, and be able to also get those resources. Being able to get those resources is very difficult when it comes to the standard way that the VA systems have things set up, at least from what I've experienced. Therefore, I know there's not enough of these type of places or organizations. So I'm saying, well, this is what you're going to do. It's one of your first steps you're going to take forward in the community by creating that. Like I said, the name of the organization I want to call Rally Point Arts also comes with meaning, a military meaning, if you will. Rally Point is a point that if you're on a mission and something goes wrong with that mission, you always knew where the designated rally point was going to be. If you got separated, you go back to it, you reorganize, you regroup, you prepare, and you go on about your missions. So to me, that makes perfect sense for people who may be feeling like I do or just need to connect. Well, I'm going to provide that space that we can come back to. We can organize around art. We can actually just come together around anything that needs to be talked about in a safe environment that can easily be understood, and that I'm sure members of the community can share their own insights of that, where it's overall more palatable for everybody, rather than just me speaking on my own personal interests of what I experienced at war. To go into why I feel art and healing, I was somebody who grew up on notebook paper, pencil, a felt tip marker. I loved black and white. I loved the contrast of that simple look of art. It was also funny to me that the whole 13 years I was in the Marine Corps, I never created any art whatsoever. I never looked to it as an outlet. On one side of it, I completely understand, because I signed up first in the Army, in the U.S. Army, to jump out of airplanes, because that's what I wanted to do. When that college money and everything didn't work out, I wanted to go full-time in the service. And there was a little red tape for me to go back into the Army, so I joined the Marine Corps. So not only did I do one basic boot camp, I did both.
Yeah, wow.
You know, and that alone is not hugely a norm of how people join the service.
Yeah.
But when I also joined the service, I gave myself all of myself. I did not know what the true meaning of signing on that dotted line was, because my father was in the service. I grew up in the service. All of my high school, kindergarten, everything was overseas in the service. But there was no wartime conflicts going on that made me ever think of, oh, well, you don't really want to join the service because there's that aspect to it. Unfortunately, when I joined, Desert Shield, Desert Storm started, and I ended up going to Saudi Arabia and Kuwait and spending a lot of time in the desert. Coming back to the year 2000, when I actually discharged and needed to find myself again and what I could do, art is what I went back to. I said, okay, this day and age, people are using computers. I still love my art. I'm gonna go back and get a graphic design degree. It's exactly what I did, you know, and I got a job doing graphic design, doing labeling, doing branding, which was truly right up my alley of expressing myself and creating. giving birth to something that somebody needed for their own business. Truly rewarding. And along that line, I'm going, well, I know that this is how I can connect more with people. There's more artists I know in the community. When I was living in Oakland, huge art community. I moved down to San Jose, same thing. It's naturally what I gravitate to, naturally for the very fluid reason. When I got to here in San Jose, I joined a group called Mali, which is a multicultural arts leadership course that they give out of the Mexican Heritage Plaza, which was a year-long course of how to dive into your art, how to share your art, how to get backing for your art and your projects and whatnot. And having done that, going, okay, and experiencing my health problems and figuring out what I need to do, Rally Point Arts just felt truly natural. If I ever shared a part of that idea with anybody, it was easily understood and made me feel like I was on the right path to what I'm trying to accomplish. Because like I said, being on the wrong path is not where I want to be anymore. I feel that the connections I've made over the years of photography and photographing different cultures and sharing them with the community, and even being asked, Buggsy, why are you photographing us? And it kind of caught me off guard at first, but I came to learn that what I was photographing was actually a ceremony. And then I said, well, I'm a veteran. I use my camera as my weapon of choice now, and this is how I find healing and balance. And it quickly came to be, Buggsy, keep doing what you're doing. We love what you're doing. Every time you post a picture of us out there in ceremony, it's a sign of resistance, and it's our own medicine. So again, another confirmation of what I was doing, the path I was on was right for me, and is also what the community needed. So taking it again to another level, this organization, this place that I want to create, I feel like it needs to be a brick and mortar, because a lot of these people are spread out and things get cut because of funding and this and that. I truly believe there's enough people in the community and other companies, organizations that can truly get behind this, and we can eliminate that headache of what could be a problem of going, oh, we used to love going to that Rally Point Arts, but now it moved, and I want to avoid that. I want to create something concrete that, I say community, community, my own age, younger, the younger the better is a huge part of what I believe. The youth have to be involved in what I'm doing and what I'm sharing, because I believe they will be, in the long run, a much louder and stronger voice than I could create myself or with other individual veterans my own age. We need to get that community together to help speak up for us. And I just truly believe Rally Point Arts is that place that could be there. I do want to say something important about art and about veterans. There used to be a statement out there that says 22 veterans commit suicide daily. I'm not sure if that amount is correct anymore, but the meaning behind it has always struck me to my core. And I truly believe that if I didn't have my voice, if I didn't keep diving into my creative space, I could easily become one of the 22, and if I can share with you these types of work. This piece right here is a piece that originated from one of my photographs. When I did a show called Featherweight, Giving Indigenous Culture a Fighting Chance, I dedicated a whole show to the Mexica, the Aztec dancers that I was becoming in contact with. Little did I know that this was as I was told through some of their members, this was one of the first shows that was ever dedicated solely to us. So again, I know my path is on the right, we're walking the right path. But I share her truly because of the way I feel about her, and her also being a veteran, and all the things that she has also discovered about herself that has helped her deal with what she has, that she dealt with while in the service. This is more of later of where I'm at. If you will, just give me a second. Now this type of piece, a lot of people around San Jose do not know me for this. This is during my very creative time in Oakland, California, when I actually moved from Southern California to Northern California. It happened to be when I came and did a show called The Day of the Dead in Fruitvale, in Oakland, California. I didn't sell hardly any pieces, but the amount of support and advice that I got from being there let me know that I needed to move to the Bay Area. So when I came to the Bay Area and I started creating, I really started intertwining. Like I told you, I got a degree in graphic design. So this is computer generated and printed. I then mounted it on wood. And if you know anything about Photoshop is in layers. So I wanted to create a piece pretty much how I was seeing it in layers. Everything that you see in the front is affected by what's in the back of it. It actually spells miles underneath miles. You can tell that there's layers to it. I love the layering concept. I believe we're all onions, and the more of the layers we pull back, the more we'll learn from it. And this is the kind of pieces that I was creating then. I love engraving into the wood. I love feeling the hard texture of it. And even just by seeing this logo right here, this is a very important piece of when I discovered, I call this piece Conscious Love. This piece is what I used to create my artwork under, called One Love Works. And it was almost an at heart symbol with the dot in between, the dot in the middle of the heart being possibility. What possibilities can come from that? However, the I came later when I truly realized what art was doing for me and how healing it was, and the consciousness I got from that. So this piece and some other pieces actually get branded with this on it, if you will, because as I was creating it, I knew how healing this was for me, not only in the creation of it, but how I wanted to be able to tell the story of just what all of this means. Another one thing, like I said, I was a combat veteran. I saw some death. These individual things that I would do like this, these were always people that I still saw after I left the desert. I would see shadows here and there. And they weren't shadows that scared me. They were shadows that I knew who they were, and they were looking after me. And I wanted to make sure I included them in some format. And this is how I included people into my art. So again, everybody, I truly do appreciate you taking the time to watch this video, share this video. I'm thankful for, being able to come to my home where I do a lot of my creation, just to get a taste of what I'm trying to do and share this with you. And please stay tuned for what's coming next. My solo art show is called Art is My Prescription.